And now, you're tuned in to RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's Reveler Sports.
What's up, RBLR Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Bucs podcast. We're excited to have y'all here, excited to talk some Bucs football with the two greatest NFL analysts in the history of the universe, Santiago and Musab. We'll introduce them in a second, but you know what? It's another week. It's another Bucs dub. It is no longer a Bucs life. It's always a Bucs life, but it's no longer the miserable Bucs life that we've been getting a little bit more used to this season. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce my two co-hosts. Santiago, say what's up to the people.
What's up, Carter? What's up, RBLR Nation? Yeah, it's a Bucs life. It's an RBLR life. You know what I'm saying? We got to get that shirt. But you know what I mean? It's super sweet, too sweet that we got that two dubs in a row, man. 2 in a row. We're 500. We're super excited. Let's go, Bucs, baby. I'm ready.
Man, Santiago, your enthusiasm is infectious, I got to tell you. And not to be outdone, it's Mr. Musab. Say what's up to the people, Musab.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, Bucs fans, RBLR Nation? It is nothing but a pleasure to be back again with the gang over here. And also, it's nothing but a pleasure to see our Buccaneers get another win this past weekend. It was a much-needed win. Also, just really, really cool vibes, knowing the fact that it was overseas. So the fact that I was waking up at like 8 o'clock in the morning, with the cold one, with the boys, ready to watch the Buccaneers get another win. It was awesome. So I'm super, super excited to be talking about some Tampa Bay football with y'all.
Absolutely. I'm right there with y'all. Like y'all mentioned, the Bucs took home the victory. They took home the dub in Europe, in Germany, in Munich. Went overseas. They did not take the walk to Poland like Lil Yachty, but they did take the dub home. So that's all that matters. 21-16. They looked great for the most part. There was a few mistakes here and there, but it's going to happen in an NFL game. The run game was fantastic. The defense looked really, really good through the first 3 quarters. They struggled to close a little bit, but, overall, really a solid victory, really encouraging, especially against a really good team that's been playing some great football this season. And the Seattle Seahawks, they're division leaders in the NFC West for a reason. They were 6-3 entering the game. They are now 6-4 after playing the Bucs. But, yeah, it was just really a tremendous, tremendous game. A lot of energy. The crowd was hype. Santiago, we'll start with you. Overall thoughts on the game. What are your overall thoughts after this victory?
Yeah, man. It's super exciting to be 500. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a positive, of course, and then, now going into the bye week, I know we're going to get into a little bit more. And yeah, man, this is a plus right now. So, I'm super excited to, let's discuss. Carter was just saying, there were some mistakes and here and there, but overall, I believe that with the energy of the stadium and everybody super excited around, it felt like a Super Bowl type of atmosphere. Like, it was really that big, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we already know the Super Bowl's huge, but in Germany, this is like the first time that the NFL has been to that specific country for this type of an event, and it was an event. I mean, like, there were people waiting outside like the stadium for like 4 hours trying to get before, and there was like pictures of like that on social media. So I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, it was beautiful to see on both end zones that said Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, it was like people were hyped, and the players actually showed that. You know what I mean? And we didn't make mistakes as like that much, but the most important thing is we got the W.
For sure, yeah, that's obviously the most important thing. A win's a win. Musab, how about you? Some overall thoughts on the game from Sunday?
My overall thoughts was it was an extremely unique experience, what we had this past weekend. But on top of that, what I've noticed these last couple of games is kind of how different things are, as I wasn't expecting, what we're seeing. And I like to see that we're having a lot of variety going on. And I think that was one of the keys to winning this game. Surely it was good for the most of the part, as you said, Carter. But I do want to say that, yeah, I think I've been getting some different vibes, like kind of from our Buccaneers, and on top of that, it was a completely different atmosphere. Hearing the fans in the stadium singing "Country Road," that was legendary. That was like, wow, who would ever thought, this would be happening? Just to see how football brings us all together. But overall, just because we also got a win, it was in Germany. Um, some kind of unsung heroes, some shining stars from the games. Things have been kind of clicking really well. I'm really happy to see what's going on right now with our Buccaneers.
Absolutely, I'm right there with you. It's been a very encouraging couple of weeks, especially after such an awful start. So yeah, I mean, we'll kind of start on the defensive side because the defense really was the star of this game. As much as the offense played well, and we'll get into that, the defense really set the tone from the get go. Because this Seattle offense is explosive. I mean, they've been one of the best offenses in the NFL. They have a potential Rookie of the Year candidate in Kenneth Walker in the backfield. And he was limited to 17 yards on 10 carries, which is huge. And then Geno Smith, I mean, he's a potential comeback player of the year guy. He's been really tearing it up through the air with Metcalf and Lockett. And he didn't throw any interceptions, but he did have that fumble. He got sacked 3 times. Devin White was a fantastic. He was really great. But the big focus that I want to focus on is just that Akeem Hicks has been back for the past 2 games, and they have won the past 2 games, and he was active and healthy in the first 2 weeks, and they won those 2 games. So right now they're 4-0 with Akeem Hicks being healthy. How important is he moving forward for the rest of the season? Santiago, we'll start with you.
Yeah, he's important, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a big fella. He's a big boy. You know what I'm saying? And we need that veteran presence, helping us out because we've been struggling, and we already talked about this from the beginning of the season. Like we were going to have a tough schedule with tough opponents. We analyzed this and previously in the preseason. This was the fourth toughest schedule, and I'm glad that, Hakeem Hicks played, and yeah, we're 4-0. You know what I mean? Devin White as well, you know what I'm saying? Like had a great game. I mean, it was, we had 2 interceptions in the game. I mean, it was just, it was really nice to see some Bucs ball and playing well. So, but yeah, what do you think, Musab?
For me, I have to say that it was very fun to watch our defense just completely dominate Geno Smith and the rest of the Seahawks. And to answer your question, Carter, regarding Akeem Hicks, for me, it's just I think that he is a certain kind of role player. Where his presence, being that he's experienced, but on top of that, I mean, he's not like, oh my God, he's the number one guy in the league right now, but he still has something in him for sure, and he's just a contributing factor. He is perhaps maybe one of the pieces that allows our defense to click so well. And now that I think about it, it's really neat thinking that we're 4-0 with Akeem Hicks. Yeah, that's real neat. And I mean, I hope that maybe he's our good luck charm and he just continues to keep on working real well with the rest of our guys. But defense for me, I mean, I love seeing what was going on. As you were saying, and we already said it early. For most of the part, it was good, but um, you know, a few interesting things we saw in the ending and all that. But overall, I'm really happy to see what's happened. And on top of that, one of my favorite guys, Devin White, did real well.
Absolutely, yeah. Devin White had a really huge game, and it was really encouraging to see that after he had just looked kind of out of focus, lack of energy in the few past few games. So it was really nice to see him bounce back. But yeah, kind of capitalizing more on Akeem Hicks. They're giving up also over those 10 wins. They're giving up 10.5 points per game, which is just it's miraculous. It's almost like night and day. Which you don't want to put it all on him because they've played some weaker opponents in those 4 games. They've also had some great performances from the other members of the defense. But regardless, he has been great. So now let's kind of shift the focus back to the offense because the offense was really encouraging because the defense has been relatively solid for the most part for the year, but the offense has certainly had its fair share of struggles. And running the football. I mean, good gracious, they ran for 161 yards. They ran the ball 44 times. I mean, that's incredible. They were averaging a little over 60 yards a game up to this point. So that's almost 3 whole games worth of running the football for the Bucs. So yeah, I mean, what looked different to you guys with this Bucs running game? Was it the play calling? Was it Rachaad White who ran for 105 yards? Was it just running the ball more? What are y'all thoughts on it? Santiago, we'll start with you.
Yeah, man. I mean, Rachaad White stepped up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can picture right now in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like that one run that he ran and he shoved, you know, the Saints play. I mean, the Seahawks player to the floor. I mean, with a force. It's just like he pushed him. He's like, get out of my way. You know what I mean? It was just unbelievable. I mean, Leonard Fournette has been struggling. You know what I mean? Like it's been, poor Lenny, you know what I mean? It's just like I want him. I don't know what's going on with him, to be honest with you. Like, like I was saying before last week, like I would like to see him instead of just run straight. Obviously he's trying to look for the hole, but he's a big boy. I want him to see if he can maneuver and do something different, like make I don't know, run differently. You know what I mean? Like, but Rachaad White is a beast, bro. Tom Brady, he was energized. Like, there were plenty of, people knew that Tom Brady was coming. So you saw people with Bucs jerseys, Patriots jerseys, and stuff like that from him playing his long time in New England. Other than that, like, you know, I know that Musab almost, predicted just by 1 point, like the actual final score of the game. You know what I mean? Like he predicted 20-16. I mean, 20-16, it was ended up 21-16. But at the end of the day, gentlemen, like I said before, we got the W, and Rachaad White stepped up, bro. It was like, as a rookie, 100 yards in a game, dude. Like that was unbelievable. It was awesome. It was really good. I'm glad that he did that, and hopefully he can progress and keep doing it more in these next coming games.
For sure, for sure. Musab, how about you? What looked different for the running game for the Bucs that made them explode like this for 161 yards?
I mean, I feel like maybe it's obvious, but maybe it isn't. But it's allowing Rachaad White to get more opportunities.
For
Um,
sure.
I am honestly really happy to see what's going on right now with the Rachaad White. Listen, I love Leonard Fournette, I really do. But perhaps maybe the situation we're in right now is just that if things are working well, where they're sharing the ball, then I think we just need to continue that right now. It's more about a team effort than just a player effort. And also, watching the way he actually played. I mean, he's got it in him. He's like a bus, honestly. I mean, he's taking these hard, nasty hits already, and he keeps on going. He kept on driving through, racked up hella yards. For a rookie, that looked real impressive. And on top of that, I mean, we have to also think about, guys, that this was someone that we're like, oh, like is this gonna be RB number 2? Is he gonna be in front of Keyshawn Vaughn, or they're gonna have a little battle? Well, honestly, I got completely different thoughts right now. I'm sure we can elaborate a little bit more on that later, or even
For
right
sure.
now.
Right.
Carter and Santiago, I want to hear what y'all have to say about that. But even with our receivers, I love to see that, people like K. Dotton, Julio Jones is looking well now. Scotty Miller, he was able to help us out, came in clutch for a third down. And then that other deep ball where he rather unnecessarily jumped, but still got it. A little scary, but that was super helpful. So, first half and second half had their own kind of different moods or vibes, but I have to say though, the offense was looking good. Was it perfect? No, but I see a lot of improvement. I see that we're having a little bit of a different approach. For example, like sharing the ball between White and Fournette, and those things are just kind of exciting me more and more. What about you guys?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that kind of leads me to my next question that I was going to ask is, you mentioned Rachaad White getting so many carries and being so dominant. Is he RB1 moving forward? Because Leonard Fournette, he's got that hip injury. He's kind of questionable for, obviously, they have the bye week, but they play the Browns next. He's kind of questionable for that game. They're not quite sure. And even if he is healthy, I mean, it reminds me, I mean, I don't want to compare this team to the Super Bowl team 2 years ago, but, Ronald Jones was the kind of lead back that year. He ran for 1,000 yards. So is Rachaad White going to be kind of the Rojo? Is he the number one guy moving forward? Santiago, we'll start with you. Is Rachaad White the feature back going forward?
At this moment, I believe so. Yes. I mean, he's performed. He. He was. This was a big game, man. This game meant a lot. I mean, everybody was watching. It was not just. It was not only just people within the United States watching. You know what I'm saying? Like there were people in Germany watching. You know what I mean? I bet even though they don't have the fever that we have over here for our sport, which is American football. You know what I mean? It's such a big event. Like they probably had it in the newspapers and local media, like, oh, Tom Brady is coming. So people were watching in the bars, around Munich. They didn't show any footage of it, but I could imagine like people going into a bar, into a stadium, like, oh, what's that? Oh, wow. You know what I mean? It was the talk of the town. So there was actually two countries, and then the excitement of the players. I mean, Rachaad White is a rookie. He's never been into that type of environment over there playing, in a different country and, being exposed to that, getting that excitement, that adrenaline, that energy, that electricity. And, you know, um, obviously we want to go to the Super Bowl to feel that more of an electricity, of course, but we have to work hard. However, like he was amazing. And I believe, yes, he is our number one running back at the moment. Musab said something about Julio Jones. Yeah, Julio Jones had a touchdown, man. It was just he was wide open and he just ran. He got hit going into the end zone, but that was exciting. Just and then the roar of the crowd, and then the excitement of the players just congratulating each other, like for doing such a great job and scoring a touchdown because we had struggles with that this year. So, I mean, it's just overall this was really good. This is a really good game for us.
For sure. So, I mean, it sounds like Santiago, you and I are in agreement. Rachaad White should be the feature back moving forward. And Musab, you've been a Rachaad White fan since day one. So shout out to you, man. You're a day one supporter of him. So I think I already know the answer to this question. But how about you? You think that Rachaad White's going to be the feature back moving forward?
I have to say the fact that we have, we got a bye week going on right now. I think this is something that I think the coaching staff is going to kind of let it marinate a little bit. This is something to think about for sure because as of right now, yeah, I mean, it looks good that they're sharing the ball, but hey, it's really, may the best man win. And as you were saying, Carter, I kind of see it like it's like a Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette kind of situation. You got two dogs who are fighting out for it. They both got like a certain kind of skill to them. And I don't know. The thing is, it's just I was rather surprised to see how many opportunities Rachaad White was getting. It wasn't anything that was making me mad. I was like, okay, this is cool to see. And it just makes me wonder, I guess, do you think there's actually a reason for that, or is the the offensive coaching staff taking away opportunities from Leonard Fournette and at least maybe reserving some opportunities now for Rachaad White, saying, hey, listen, we need to change things up. Let's maybe actually start, maybe allowing some of our other guys to really get some opportunities. And when we say that, I mean actually putting them in there no matter what, no matter how good we're doing or no matter how bad we're doing. Or do you also think that maybe, hey, things are looking fine, at least in the first half, with Rachaad White and Leonard Fournette? So let's just keep on doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an interesting question. It's tough to kind of strike that balance of feeding the hot hand, but also allowing a guy to get into rhythm, especially when it comes to, running the football. You want to put the fresh legs in there, but you also, want a guy to feel like they're in the game, get some hits, feel like they're involved. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough question moving forward. I think it's going to be one that the Bucs kind of play by ear. Like you said, kind of just let it play out naturally. The bye week is certainly going to be important. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting moving forward to see how things play out with the running game, who gets more touches, and if they can serve on maybe Fournette, just giving them some breaks so that playoff Lenny can emerge. So yeah, I mean it's really going to be interesting. But what else is interesting is how great our threads are on RBLR's the RBLR shop. I mean it's really fantastic. Our store's got some great stuff for all of our Tampa teams. Rays, Bucks, Lightning, Rowdies. And in the theme of this European game being won by the Bucs, specifically in Germany, we do have a European Week 10 regular season champions T-shirt right in the shop, ready to be purchased, ready to be bought. Go and get it before they sell out. Just rock it. You got to do it to them. And Santiago, you got to do something else to them. I know you got a promo. What's that?
Yes, gentlemen, the promo code is Cannon, CANNONS. I'll say that again, CANNONS. 10% off your order. Go to shop.rblrsports.com. And that's right, man. Go get that go get that fresh gear. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Look, the holidays are coming up. Hey, get something nice for your family, for you, yourself, anything. You know what I'm saying? But hey, go. Let's go, Bucks, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, the
Indeed. Yeah.
Christmas the Christmas ad. Hey, the Christmas ads are already out. All right, before it gets too late, get your loved one a little gift from shop.rblrsports.com. Believe me, sooner or later, you're gonna know it's gonna be Christmas time, and you're gonna wish, oh
Hmm.
man, I wish I planned this ahead of time.
That's right. Yeah, the holidays are coming around. You can't be left empty-handed. I mean, come on now. You gotta help the people out, give the people what they want. Um, but yeah, I mean, kind of moving back to the game. So obviously it's a great win. It was a dominant win for the Bucks. So now that they've won two in a row, they're back to 500. Big picture, does this kind of restore faith in the Bucks? I know last week it was kind of they managed to squeak it out with a Tom Brady epic comeback victory or whatever. But now that they've kind of shown an ability to at least run the damn ball, do y'all feel a little better going into this bye week than before? Santiago, we'll start with you. Did they kind of made you feel a little better going into this week?
Yeah, I honestly do. I honestly, it's an energy. We got the wings. Uh, you got the wings that because we were down for a while. You know what I mean? We were down. We were like, you know, it was just hectic. And yeah, we're back at 500, but we have to obviously improve all the time. I know they're going to be working hard this coming week and stuff. And even though it is the bye, but obviously we have that game up in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be cold. It's gonna be chilly up there. Hopefully, it's not too cold, but what I mean. And I still believe we're gonna win and stuff. So I know we're gonna get that into that right there. But yeah, man, we have to actually make these next games, because this second half of the season, count. We have to win every single game. Like, we cannot lose. Like, please, let's win. Let's do it. Let's work hard. Let's get into practice. Let's go first place and then make it happen. And I want a championship, gentlemen. Let's do this. I want
For
that
sure.
third Lombardi.
Hey, Notre Dame has win one for the Gipper, the Dipper. We got win one for Santiago. That's the Bucks version. But Musab, how about you? Are you feeling a little better about the Bucks' chances moving forward after these two wins?
Most definitely. And again, thanks to the bye week, of course, an extra week just to kind of think about, what we want to do, gives our players some rest, of course. But on top of that, yeah, I think it's time to kind of change things up. And as of right now, I'm a little bit more fired up than I was, a few weeks before. And I don't know. I'm really curious to see as to what we do. We're a 500 team right now, so that's always interesting to see. This is not something I feel like we were all expecting. At least I wasn't. I remember that. I'll tell you that for sure. I wasn't expecting that. But we also have to think about I think it's also going to be a different kind of second half compared to the first half. The first half was real interesting, of course, and I'm saying the teams we faced before and after, their current record. And the second half is going to be interesting for sure. And on top of that, it's also knowing that, listen, we're already 5-5, so we can't afford to, lose more and more games now. We're already kind of on the chopping block, and this is kind of a different vibe. This kind
Absolutely.
of, these last two wins were needed, and it was kind of that little that little hope saying, no, like, guys, like, before you put your head down, like, this is it. We still have it in us. It's going to be hard. It may not be easy. We're going to have our ups and downs. It's not like we're going to run by every single team in the second half of this season, but we'll see what goes on.
Yeah, I mean, to quote Bon Jovi, we're halfway there, living on a prayer. Sorry, guys, my classic rock knowledge is not what it used to be, but we're definitely on the right track. I feel like as a fan base, the Bucs are really starting to look a lot better after these past two games. So you mentioned the second half. We'll get into second half predictions because it's a bye week. We don't really have a game upcoming to preview. So second half predictions, record for the second half, how they're going to finish, how they'll do in the playoffs, that kind of thing. So Santiago, we'll start with you. What do you think their record for the second half is going to be? There's 7 games, and how do you think they'll do in the playoffs?
I I'm honestly, as a true Bucks fan, to be honest with you, like I believe we're gonna win all 7 games.
Wow. All right.
And
Pretty
yeah,
encouraging.
that's just me. That's me because it's just like we have to. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to. It just we want to go and we want to go. We want to we want to not just sniff. We want to win that Lombardi. We want to do that. You know what I mean? The game's going to be in Arizona, the Super Bowl. We want to be in Arizona. We want to be over there. You know what I'm saying? We want to, let's go Bucks.
For sure. So you think they're going to be 7-0? What do you think they're going to have to do to get there? Like how do you think they're going to get there? I mean, obviously it has a lot to do with the offense because the defenses look pretty solid. But what are you looking for specifically for them to go 7-0? Because obviously, every team wants to win the Super Bowl, right? I mean,
Exactly.
if they had Santiago
You're right.
coach, it would be easy because they just
Exactly.
so freaking
Right.
pumped up. But
I
what
agree.
do you think they need to do to get there?
What do they need to do to get there? Hey, like, yes, we've had a hard time with injuries. Completely understand that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But hey, we're in the middle of the season right now, and everybody has to put their piece in and little grain of salt and win. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just the team cannot only be won by Tom Brady. This is a team sport, all as well. I want to see Rachaad White. I want to see him still, moving forward. I would like to see Leonard Fournette. Let's see what the doctors say. He has had, like you brought up earlier, he had issues with a hip. Hey, hope maybe let's sit him out. I don't know, like maybe not give him as many carries. We have, I'm sorry. We also have as well, Keyshawn Vaughn as well.
Yeah, it
He
sounds
played a little bit,
right.
and and then all of a sudden, like I want to see him do well as also,
For
and
sure.
then obviously like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Scotty Miller. Scotty Miller is playing more. I want to see him like, you know, you know, you know,
Take a step forward.
take us exactly. You read
Absolutely.
my mind. Take a step forward. I want to see Julio Jones not get injured. You know what I'm saying?
For
Like I want to see like everybody. We have a good core of players, gentlemen. We have a great core of players.
Absolutely.
Pro bowlers, people that know how to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know that if we can all put our heads together and our spirits together and everything like that, we could definitely, in my opinion, go 7-0 because there are games there that are winnable. Obviously, there are other games that can be a little bit more difficult, but hey, some of the games like, we're playing against the 49ers, we're going to be playing at home. You know what I'm saying? Like there are some games that are going to be in our stadium with our fans and everything like that. And man, we can definitely change the outcome. We can definitely do something positive. So that's the reason why I want to go. That's what I'm thinking 7-0. That's what I've always,
Fair
you
enough.
know.
Right. Hey, I'm with you, Santiago. 7-0 sounds great. Musab, how about you? Maybe you're not as optimistic as Santiago. How are you feeling about the rest of the season? Kind of a record prediction, playoff prediction, etc.
I want to go with 7-0 as well, but I mean, being a little bit realistic, I feel like maybe there might be a loss that might pop in there. The thing is, it's really important that we don't lose. Really, if we get a loss, I mean, it's gonna be unfortunate, whatever. But that's the last straw. That really is, and the only way we're gonna succeed, I think, this season, is first. Unfortunately, just hope as much as we can that injuries don't arise,
Right.
because those are
Health.
always just a bummer, and there's only so much we can control out of that. But on top of that, just changing the strategy as we already are. We got to keep changing things up. But on top of that, we just kind of need better hustle, better effort. I feel like I don't know. Maybe it was just the atmosphere of these last two games, especially this last game, of course. Knowing that we're looking to hit 500. We're playing in Germany. Um, it's the Seahawks, which was also kind of a different vibe. I feel like we weren't expecting them to be like 6-4 as of right now. It's been a really weird season for a lot of teams, of course. But long story short, yeah, I think we're just gonna have to change some strategies, both on the offense and defense side. More on the offense. I like what I'm seeing, of course, but I also have to say, and I do also want to give a shout out to the special teams. I do think that they are definitely a contributing factor to these kind of wins, of course,
For,
and at least helping us win. For example, I mean Jay Camarda. Oh man, he's got a leg. Honestly, the punts that I saw, especially this past game, I was like, wow, this is what we've been missing. Because again, it comes through big time sometimes. Just imagine, we really got, we're only up by a touchdown. They got the ball, only a few minutes left. We really got to stop them. Well, you can count on Jake Camarda for at least, kind of hitting that little, 5 to 10 yard line, maybe even closer to the end zone. And that's just one thing. I mean, Ryan Suckup has been shining for us, super, super helpful. Jalen Darden, I like the way things are going for him right now. So I think slowly, and hopefully it'll be a little quicker now, but things are just clicking together, and that's what I like to see. But on top of that, it's because yeah, we're doing things a little bit differently, game by game. I think that's important.
for sure. Yeah. Switching the strategy up, just not kind of running the same, 4 or 5 plays in the same 4 or 5. It seems like the play calling was getting real repetitive on offense, and it really seemed like there was a shift. They were hitting different holes with the running game. They weren't just, ground and pound, just give it to Lenny and just let him just try to slam in there and, gain yardage. So that's definitely going to be huge moving forward. I'm not nearly as optimistic as y'all. I think they're going to go 4-3. I think they're going to finish out the season 9-8. And I think they'll go to the playoffs and they might win a game, but I think they're ultimately going to get knocked out in either the division or the NFC Championship, most likely the divisional round. So that's me. I'm a little less optimistic than y'all, but still, it's really going to be a fun end to the season. Like y'all mentioned, there's some really interesting games, interesting matchups coming up. They've got the Bengals, the 49ers, the Cardinals, teams that we haven't seen in a while against the Bucs. So, but let's look a little bit more back, kind of reflect on the first half of the season, so to speak. So we'll hit a big 3 questions. So what's the MVP so far, the biggest surprise, and the biggest disappointment? Santiago, we'll start with you. MVP, surprise, and
My MVP, to be honest with you, bro, is gonna be Ryan Suckup, homie.
all right,
You know what
there
I
you
mean?
go.
Like that leg, bro. Yeah, he missed the field goal this past game, but you know what, man? Like his in the previous games that he kept us in the game. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, what was what was
Biggest surprise?
biggest surprise? Yeah, man, like, Jay Camarda, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Wow.
our special teams has been special, man. Like for reals. Like, Musab, and you said it last week. Hey man, that leg, bro, to keep going, kicking that ball like and then making it more difficult for our opponents. Hey, that's beautiful. I love that. And then also, our biggest disappointment, to be honest with you, Lenny, man. It's
Yeah.
just it's tough, man. But injuries happen. Like you know, you gotta do something different. I don't know. I'm not. He's a professional. He knows this game. He lives and breathes it. But it's just that, man. I would love for him to do something different, run different instead of just running up the middle. But uh, yeah, man. Those are my three. Those are my three. What about you, Musa? What's
Yeah.
your take?
Well, I'm gonna have to say my MVP the first half. I'm gonna dedicate this. It's kind of hard. I want to give it to the whole kind of defense. Honestly, they've all been phenomenal. But for me, I got to give it to D White just because he's been really picking it up. And on top of that, I mean, he's just always been standing out for me. Super, super important key piece to our defense as well. So, I mean, I want to give a shout out to a lot of those guys, but just a big shout out to the defense. They've just been phenomenal so far. They've been really, keeping us together. And I just want to, yeah, that's give a shout out to them. But D White, I would probably say, is the one who leads my pack. Biggest surprise. Ooh, this one's interesting. I have to, agree with you, Santiago, on Jay Camarda, just because this is not just some mere mediocre kind of punter who's just getting the job done. I mean, this guy's got a leg, of course. But on top of that, I also have to say a runner-up would be Rachaad White. But I don't know. I'm going to give it to the punter just because these punters need some love. And I'm going to say my biggest surprise guy is going to be Jay Camarda. Now, the third one remind me, it was a disappointment, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Mm, I guess I have to disagree a little bit with the kind of Lenny situation. I would probably say that I'm not really disappointed in him. I just that he's just not taking advantage of his kind of opportunities, and there's been a piece of his share that's been cut off, given to Rachaad White. For me, though, I just kind of have to go just with the receiving unit. I would say minus Godwin and Evans, just because we just got to take advantage of better opportunities. We've had too many kind of drops. On top of that, I just think that there needs to be better communication or something. And I do want to hold everyone accountable on the offense, the receivers, and perhaps even Tom Brady, of course. This is not exactly what I was expecting. I'm extremely thankful to have people like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin still help us out, of course. But if we're going to be a championship team, and if we really start, if we really want to start kind of clicking together, and winning games, and winning by as much as we can, the offense has got to do something else. We need to have more kind of depth pieces or just role players, step up to the plate a little bit more. So that's kind of really about it for me. I know it's a little bit generally broad. I don't really have anyone to kind of, give awards out to or give kind of, disappointment trophies to either.
Right.
A few shining stars, of course, that have been always doing well. But, listen, we're 5-5 for a reason. So I'm not going to, I don't want to start handing out, big shout outs to everyone. There are some changes needed to be made. And I just have to say, I don't want to sound extremely pessimistic, but I am happy to see that things are progressing, of course. And that's the most important part for me.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Things are looking up, as they say. Yeah, I got to say my MVP has definitely been Jamel Dean. He's got a pair of interceptions. He's been, it's a contract year for him, so he's playing like it, and he's going to get paid. Not by the Bucs. I don't think they can afford him, but there's going to be a market out there for him, and deservedly so. He's been playing his butt off, especially since the offense has been struggling so much. The defense has had to step up, and I think Dean has been the MVP so far for me. The biggest surprise, man, y'all both went Camarda, and it's tough not to. It's tough not to, but I think I'm going to go with Jalen Darden. He has been one of the best punt returners in the NFL, and I think, going into the season, I think we were all questioning whether he was even going to make the roster, and rightfully so. He looked a little rough in his rookie season, but he has really found himself a niche. He's found himself a role in the NFL, and he's been a really pleasant surprise for me. Just because, like I said, we were all saying, oh, why'd they cut Tyler Johnson? They kept Jalen Darden and Scotty Miller. What the heck's going on? So he's been my biggest surprise. I really loved, Musab, your inclusion of the biggest disappointment other than Evans and Godwin, because Gage and Jones have been non-existent. They have not shown up this year, and it has been really tough, especially for the amount of money they are getting. But yeah, the biggest disappointment for me, I can pinpoint it to one guy, is Luke Gadecki. He has been absolutely atrocious, and he's been benched. He doesn't even play anymore. And as a second round pick, he was kind of hailed as the replacement for Ali Marpet, and he has not done that at all. He's been a huge, humongous, great step down in talent wise, and he is a huge reason why Leonard Fournette can't run the ball. Just because the offensive line interior is so atrocious that what are they supposed to do? Guys are just revolving doors, especially him and Robert Hainsey. So yeah, Luke Gadecki's definitely been my biggest disappointment. That's kind of yeah, it's been brutal to watch him play, and now thankfully we don't have to. So now obviously we'll go a little more lighthearted after I just kind of was really harsh on Luke Gadecki. Sorry if you're listening, man. Um, but if you are listening, like and subscribe. Regardless, what are y'all going to be doing in the bye week? Because now, I mean, there's no Bucs football. What are we supposed to do with ourselves? Santiago, we'll start with you. What are you going to be up to this Sunday?
Well, I want to. What am I going to do this Sunday? Still going to watch football, of course. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? That's what I'm going to do. You got to look at the opponent. You know what I mean? Cleveland Browns. We'll see what
For sure.
But
Out.
check out what they're going to be doing. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's in the veins, bro. Our team's not playing, but you still watch. It's just because it's one of the most exciting sports in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, ooh yeah, you know what I mean? Like it just got that. It's the adrenaline, man.
Ooh,
Yeah,
yeah.
ooh yeah, like the Macho Man. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? But yeah, gentlemen, what are you guys gonna be doing?
Musab, what are you up to this Sunday? What you still watching football like Santiago, or maybe gonna do something productive? What are you up to?
Yeah, and I'll be tuned into the football games. Of course, it won't be the
Sure.
same, knowing that my Buccaneers aren't playing. But I have to also say it was a rather interesting Sunday this past one, just because our Bucks were done by like 12, and I was like, wow, okay, well, yeah, we got a whole day of games now,
Hmm.
and my Bucks are done. But for me, I'll probably just be tuned in to see what's going on. Probably just kind of tuned into at least our second half opponents. Looking at how the Bengals looking, the Browns, the rest of our divisions looking. This second half as well. Just because our division is at least on the standings chart, looks really really weird right now. Knowing
Yeah,
that we're leading the pack at 5-5, but there's a lot of divisions like that. It's been a really interesting season for all teams, of course. It's not like anyone's just plowing through anyone. And those who were lost to the Washington Commanders this past weekend, apparently. So no
yeah.
more plowing for them. So that being said, yeah, I'll just be tuned in. Probably just kicking back and relaxing. Might rejuvenate a little bit. I don't know. Maybe find some opportunity to live lavish like you do, Carter.
Oh man, yeah, living lavish.
What about
Yeah,
you, man?
right. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm gonna be doing too. I'm gonna be right there with y'all watching some foosball, or football, excuse me, not to quote Bobby Boucher's mother from The Waterboy, but yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, there were some really fun games this past weekend. The Packers Cowboys went into OT. So did the Bills Vikings. There was that ridiculous Justin Jefferson catch. So there's always going to be some fun football this weekend. But yeah, I mean, if you've made it this far into the podcast, I'm really sorry. I've said some stupid things, but thank you so much for listening. Yeah, we're gonna kind of wrap it up. But do y'all have any final thoughts? Any kind of closing remarks? Santiago, we'll start with you.
Yeah, like I was wondering who is your Mr. RBLR for this past weekend, gentlemen?
Oh, that's a great question.
You know what I'm saying? We gotta, my Mr. RBLR, to be honest with you, and it's not just um, I'd say Rachaad White. But for me, I'm gonna put my Mr. RBLR to the whole atmosphere of the stadium and everything. You know what I mean? That's what because
Wow.
it was so grandiose. It was just amazing. Like it was unbelievable. Just like man, that definitely I remember when NFL Europe was around, like there was nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? But now that actual, you know, teams from the NFL or teams go there, there's much more of a electricity, much more of an excitement. But yeah, that's what I gotta say, gentlemen. What about you guys?
All right. Hey, I like it. Giving an RBLR to a whole stadium full of people, I dig it. Just RBLRs for everyone. You're like Oprah. You're an RBLR. You're an RBLR. Anyways, Musab, how about you? Who's your Mr. RBLR from this past weekend?
I mean, I just gotta go. I mean, I have to say, I do agree with you, Santiago. It was a really, really special time. What we saw, I was actually thinking about that actually when I was watching it, because it was like 10:30 in the morning, and I feel like a lot of people were still asleep, and it was like rainy and gloomy outside my house, and I was tuned in on my headphones, and man, I was like, wow, it is packed in there. It's nuts. So as much as I do want to give the award to the fans, uh I'm just gonna have to go with, the one and only Rachaad White, just because I really love seeing that, seeing these young guys shine, and seeing someone like him, kind of get his opportunity to, stand out more than ever. It's looked real nice, and this is something to think about, or we were thinking about, or at least I was during the off season. Was like, what are some big different things that are going to happen this season? Being that we're going through some changes, all right, and this was one of them, and I'm really just happy to see how successful it's been for him. What about
Absolutely.
you?
Yeah, I think I got to go with Mr. White. Heisenberg. Got to go with the Breaking Bad reference. Slow mode Rashad. Whatever you want to call him. Mr. White, Rachaad White, definitely. Mr. RBLR. He was fantastic. He really, had his career game. Kind of his coming out party. So yeah, that was really exciting to see. But yeah, I mean, so that's kind of all we got. Thank you all so much for listening. RBLR Nation, without y'all, we don't have a job, or, whatever you want to call this that we do. So yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you're wherever you're listening, like and subscribe. It's free. Even if you don't buy something off the store, you can at least like and subscribe, because like I said, it's free. Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're tuning in. Thank y'all so much for your time. Thank you for listening. And as always, go
Go
Bucs.
Bucs.
Go Bucks.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.